Okay, this is Block 6, the Great Depression, Section 5, after the 100 days, with the section beginning the Dust Bowl. Poor farming techniques and overexpansion of farming in the 1920s led to a natural disaster that the visuals of it boggle the mind. That throughout the middle part of the country, in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, eastern parts of New Mexico, and Colorado, farmers had tried to farm on new land that was not particularly well suited to farming. And when the farming kind of finished there, the soil was very light and dry, and there was no grass or trees to kind of hold it in place. And in the 1930s, there was just thousands upon thousands of square miles of this loose soil throughout the middle part of the country. And when strong storms, thunderstorms, would blow up, they would pick up all of this dust and create these massive dust storms that really have to be seen to be believed. That these are not clouds behind this solitary truck here in the picture. That's dirt blowing at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. It moves like a weather front, through those parts of the country. Here's another one, that this towering mass is just dust and dirt. You get a sense of it in this photograph, how it just dwarfs houses and farms. And it's called the Dust Bowl. And when the dust storms, sandstorms, dirt storms went through a community, this is the roof, the top floor of this man's farmhouse. His house is destroyed, his crops are destroyed, he has literally nothing left. And this happens over a span, an area of thousands of square miles. Thousands of people said, you know what, screw it. Screw working on this terrible land, screw starting over here, we're going to start over somewhere else. And the somewhere else for Americans in the 1930s was California. Thousands of farm families, and they became known as Okies, because lots of them were from Oklahoma, packed up the family car. Now this also kind of gives a sense that the 1920s were a good time for a lot of people, that people in the 1920s that could afford to buy cars now had lost everything in these terrible Dust Bowl farms. Families would load up everything they owned in the family car and drive off to California to start over. Largely on the very famous highway that was built, the Federal Highway Act during Woodrow Wilson's administration, Route 66. And thousands of families just picked everything up, loaded their cars, loaded their families, and drove to California and looked for a new start. And if you didn't have a car, you just walked. The roads were filled with unemployed farmers just walking their way west, walking their way to California for the chance of a better life. This is the last great westward migration in American history. The westward migrations that start with the Pilgrims, pretty much, finish up with the Dust Bowl, with the Arkies and the Okies, moving their way to the Golden State, the state of California, in the 1930s for a new start. And that's the Dust Bowl. John Steinbeck, who is an author that you may have come across in high school, wrote the best fictional view of this culture, this time, these people, when he wrote The Grapes of Wrath. Deals with it directly, Of Mice and Men deals with it indirectly. But if you want a sense of those people in that life, Grapes of Wrath, Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, a great American author, are the places to look.